Hello, and welcome to this introduction to the Curbstone coaching method. For more information regarding this and other MPC Smart solutions for better business, please visit us at mpcsmart.com. So let's get started with today's discussion. The Curbstone coaching method is a very effective way to engage your team member and allow them the opportunity for self-awareness and self-discovery. As you follow the format, you will ask questions that allow for your team member to assess their own behaviors and self-discover where they feel their strengths and weaknesses are. This allows for them to determine the areas in which they can best focus to improve and develop their skills. As they commit to their own course of action, their commitments can be revisited during the next coaching session. The Curbstone coaching method follows a three-question format. How do you feel you did during your interaction? Where do you feel that you did well? And where do you feel that you have the opportunity to do better next time? How do you feel you did during your interaction? This question opens the door for your team member to get it out. Likely something in their interaction was most prominent for them, and your team member will want to speak about it, whether it was a success or an area in which they feel they could have performed better. Allow your team member to share their thoughts with you and listen to understand rather than to reply. As your team member expresses the specifics of the interaction, remember these points to return to as you continue your discussion. When your team member is finished sharing their thoughts with you, repeat back the most significant successes or areas of concerns communicated to you as a you feel statement. For example, you feel that your discussion about Mrs. Smith's granddaughter resonated client service excellence through a genuine interest in what's most important to her. Or, you feel that you could have explored Mrs. Smith's potential areas of business if you had more knowledge of XYZ. As you acknowledge your team members' feelings about their client interaction, you show that you understand what was most important to them about their performance. The next question is, where do you feel that you did well? It's important to start with a positive element in order to position your coaching session as an opportunity for both growth and development to become even better at what your team member does. As your team member points out the areas in which they feel that they have performed well, note these positive behaviors and reinforce them with statements such as, I also feel that you did a great job connecting with Mrs. Smith on a personal level about her granddaughter, who is understandably very important to her, and it shows that you really care about your clients and pay attention to the things in their lives that resonate with them. As you celebrate the wins for your team member, make sure to reinforce the behaviors demonstrated consistent with your organization's client experience processes. The last question, where do you feel that you have the opportunity to do better next time, allows for your team member to reflect and focus on the one or two areas in which they feel that they have an opportunity to develop their skills. Again, these should be around the behaviors consistent with your organization's client experience processes. For example, referring back to our initial question, how do you feel you did during your interaction? If your team member believes that they are lacking in some form of technical or product knowledge, ask your team member how they feel that they can improve in this area. It may be researching a product or service and presenting it to the team during the morning huddle. It may be taking a company training module or attending a class. Whatever the one or two areas of focus are, have your team member commit to an action plan and a SMART goal for each focus. For example, specify what behaviors or skills they will develop and how long they will need. Determine how they will measure their execution of this area of focus going forward. Ask the question, is this an attainable area of focus? Determine whether the goal set is realistic to achieve. And lastly, make a time-bound determination as to when the focus action will be executed. If your team member is going to present an area of determined lack of specific knowledge about a product or service in the morning huddle, specify what they will discuss and when they will present. Determine the measures through which your team member will determine success in their future interactions. Set attainable and realistic expectations of results, and create a timeline which includes a revisit of the goal to determine progress, or if any unforeseen issues have arisen, perhaps delaying execution. The Curbstone coaching method, if used consistently through a well-thought-out coaching and development process, can be an extremely effective tool for raising the bar for your team member's performance. And because it puts the onus of responsibility on your team member to determine the areas of focus, action plan, and commitments to execute, it helps you create confidence and feeling of control for your team member regarding their own personal development. It also allows managers to revisit this discussion in a position of support for your team members' personal development objectives, as opposed to dictating to your team members an action plan not of their own devising, and thus one in which they may not have real buy-in or commitment to fulfilling. Thank you for joining us, and we hope that you've enjoyed this introduction to the Curbstone coaching method. We look forward to your feedback and welcome any questions or comments that you may have regarding this module. To learn more about this and other smart solutions for better results, please visit our website at mpcsmart.com.